Let's do a full face of drugstore makeup. This just goes to show you don't need to spend an arm and a leg on makeup to get the results you want. So let's get into some of my favorites at the drugstore. I always start out with brows, so let's jump into that. And I think the brand that I use the most for my brows is NYX. And these are my most repurchased, reused products. This is the brow glue and the Lift and Snatch eyebrow pen. If you are looking for something strong hold, this is the way to go. And this tube has lasted me for so long. And we're just going to ignore the random tape on top of my mirror because I don't know. But I like to start with that gel first, and then I go in with the pen once this dries down. And this you can make little hair-like strokes with. You can make it more natural. You can do a more defined brow. There is so much versatility with a brow pen. And truthfully, I think this is my absolute favorite brow pen, even out of the high-end ones I have tried. It just lasts so long. The tip is very, very fine on it. And the wear time on this is incredible. So I would recommend this one over like the ABH one that I have. That one, the tip is too thick. They did recently repackage it to have a thinner tip and it has a spoolie on the other end, but I still think that is too expensive for what it is. You can get a $1 spoolie at the Dollar Tree and this and have the same thing, and this just stays juicy for a very, very long time. Like, there's so much ink in here, it will last. Like, I've had this particular one, I want to say a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and it's still going strong. Like, when I open this, sometimes there is a bubble. Yeah, like, it just got all over my hand from opening it. Can you see, like, how juicy that is? Like, there's a bubble of product. And I've used this a lot. And, like, I really like the melt one, but it doesn't last as long. Like, there's not as much product in the actual pen itself. So again, I would go with this one above all other brow pens. Primer, this should be no surprise. The e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with niacinamide. I used this on my wedding day and look at how low she is. I do already have a tube of this on backup. And I have their Mint Melt Primer and their Jelly Pop Primer. Like, any of their grippy primers are really good. The original Power Grip, I went through 1, maybe 2 of those. Yeah, any of the e.l.f. gripping primers is a must. And for reference, I do have oily skin. This is what works for me. So I was considering using my all-time favorite Maybelline foundation, which is their Skin Tint. I have already went through 1 of those. I'm on my 2nd bottle, and I have 2 in my backup drawer. That's how obsessed I am with that. But if you want like a true foundation, I really like the Revlon Color Stay. And they have oily skin and they have one for dry skin. I have the oily skin one, obviously, because I have oily skin. That one I think is great because it has 2 different formulations. So if you have oily skin, go with that one. If you have dry skin, go with that one. And it should work for you. So I do really enjoy that one. And then I also really have been enjoying their Lumi Matte Foundation from Maybelline. This is kind of like their Skin Tint, but a little more coverage. And I do like the fact that this has a pump rather than the dropper application. So this is a really great one. And then, of course, a couple other recommendations for you guys. There is good drugstore foundations, but I'm just so picky when it comes to my foundations. If you look in my drawer, most of my foundations, skin tints, anything like that is high-end. So if I like a drugstore one, you know it's good because I prefer for my base to be high-end. Like, are you seeing this? It looks like skin. It's not heavy, but it's covering everything I want it to cover. And I noticed with this one, you can do like full glam looks, you can do a more natural look. It really just depends on what you want to do. This foundation can suit many different types of looks. Now for concealer, I have easily went through like 3 or 4 tubes of this now. This is the original e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I know some people say it can be drying underneath the eyes. Personally, I don't have that issue, and again, I do have oily skin, so something like this is necessary. I have tried the Radiant version, and it's just too creamy. It creases every single time. I absolutely despise it, and this is supposed to be a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape. I used to be a Shape Tape girl, okay? So I think that's why I really enjoy this one. I like full coverage. I like glam, okay? So if you are not looking for glam and like full coverage, I also really like the NYX Bear With Me concealer. And if you double that as foundation on your more natural days, it makes a beautiful foundation as well. So I would recommend something like that. I also really like the Milani one. Their Conceal and Perfect. That one's pretty good. It's kind of like this camo concealer, but it is slightly creamier and less drying. But it's not so creamy like the Radiant Camo to where it creases. So that one I would recommend if the original camo is too much for you, but the Radiant Camo is too creasy. I would go for the Milani Conceal and Perfect. And then to give you guys more options, we also are going to do cream blush and bronzer plus powder blush and bronzer. So for the bronzer, this isn't really necessarily a bronzer. There's different shades. This is the Maybelline Lifter Sticks. I have the shade 65, which works as a bronzer for me, but these are meant to be concealer sticks, foundation sticks. You can use them for bronzer and contour. So this one is the only one I have tried. I have not tried it as a foundation or concealer. I've only tried it as a bronzer, and I really enjoy it. It is full coverage, obviously, because it is a multitasking kind of a product. So you don't need much to get results. But not only that, it is very creamy and it is very long lasting on the skin. So that is why I really enjoy this one. And then I am just taking a brush to blend this in with. And like, are you joking? It just blends in so easily. And it is so pretty. And like I said, it is a little more full coverage, so you don't need much to bronze up with. And if you like to underpaint, this would be a great product to use for underpainting since it does have a little more coverage to it. And then you can cut down on how much concealer and foundation you need. For blush, obviously the e.l.f. Camo blushes are really good at the drugstore as well, but we already have some e.l.f. products, so I figured I'd pull out the L'Oreal Lumi blush. Plus, I feel like this doesn't get enough hype. Like when they first came out, people were talking about them. Now I don't see anybody talking about these. I have the shade Dewy Bright Pink, which is very pretty. You don't need much of this. This kind of gives rare beauty on a budget. I mean, the packaging might not be as luxurious or anything, but look at this. Rare beauty on a budget. Now, L'Oreal is definitely one of the drugstore brands that has gone kind of up there in price, but I know like my local Kroger, a lot of times in the cosmetics area, they'll have like buy 3 items, get $5 off, or if you spend $15, you get $5 off, different sales like that. So you can get different L'Oreal products on sale all the time. I know Walmart is usually cheaper than if you were to go to like Ulta or Kroger, honestly. If you do have a Kroger near you, I know not everyone does, but I feel like Walmart is pretty accessible for most people, and they typically are cheaper on cosmetics anyway. So I would recommend checking either Walmart or sometimes Amazon. And if you ever get an Amazon gift card or anything, that is a good time to stock up on makeup. And again, it's usually cheaper But speaking of L'Oreal and kind of expensive prices, this is probably my top drugstore powder pick right now, is the Infallible Blurfection. I have the translucent one. They also have a pink one. They have one for deeper skin tones, but this is really good. Is it small? Yes, this is actually only 6 grams of product. It's a little on the small side, but you don't need much of this, and it does work really, really well. The Maybelline Fit Me Loose is also a classic for a reason. The CoverGirl translucent, like loose setting powder, it's a little shimmery and glowy. It kind of reminds me of the Too Faced Born This Way. That one you need to put on, and then after you set your face, if you go in with a setting spray of some sort to kind of melt the powder into your skin, it looks so beautiful and ethereal. Again, it reminds me of the Too Faced Born This Way. But let's go ahead and use this powder real quick. Also, if you know me, you know how much I love my Too Faced Born This Way powder, because I am oily, but I still don't want to look flat all the time. So if you use something a little too mattifying, it can just make you look dry and crepey. That's why I really like the Too Faced Born This Way, because it doesn't do that. So if you want an alternative, I wouldn't say a dupe, but an alternative to that, definitely check out the CoverGirl one. Even this one, you can see how it's more of a softer set. It's not like super dry or anything. You still have a little bit of luminosity, and you can still see the luminosity from that blush. And I can tell you firsthand, this makeup look will last all day long. Now, for powder, blush, and bronzer, we're actually using the same brand and the same line. This is the NYX Buttermelt Blush and Bronzer. For the bronzer, I have All Buttered Up. And this one is actually the only powder bronzer from the drugstore I have currently. I also really like the Milani one, the matte silky bronzer. But this one is even better. This kind of reminds me of the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, but better. And the tone of this one suits me so much better than those ever did. And then I think this might be my only actual drugstore blush. I know I have a couple different ColourPop ones and stuff like that for powder, but I think this might be my only other powder drugstore blush. And this one is You Know Better. And this one is like a pinky corally shade. So I think it's gonna go over this really nicely, and it also has luminosity. But this bronzer, if you would have given this to me, not told me anything, took the name off of it, I would think it was a high-end brand. Honestly, this kind of gives Polite Society meets Makeup by Mario. Like, you have pigment, and it's not too harsh, and it has a subtle glow to it, nothing offensive or anything, and it's not going to show texture on the skin and emphasize it. It's so pretty. Now, these blushes kind of give NARS, but a little more pigmented than the NARS ones, because I do have the NARS Orgasm blush. That's kind of what this gives, but more pigmented. So if you want NARS on a budget, I would definitely go for this blush. Again, it is a little more pigmented, so I would sheer it out if you want like true NARS Orgasm. But it is so pretty, and you can still see that beautiful glow. This would also be really great for a bridal look because you have that glow. Now, for highlighter, I have talked about this one for years, and actually, way back when on TikTok, I swatched this against the Amrezy ABH highlighter and discovered it is literally the same highlighter. This is the Revlon Skin Lights highlighter in Daybreak Glimmer. You can see how much of this I have used. She's getting kind of low in the middle there. But this is literally a dupe for the Amrezy ABH highlighter. So if you are missing that one, get this one, and it's drugstore. And I've had this one way longer than I should have kept it. I want to say I got this back in 2020, maybe 2021. This exact pan too. Do you see this? Like, are we joking? It is absolutely gorgeous. It is all glow. It's not glitter. It is just pure glow. And actually, I think this is my only drugstore highlighter, and I'm not mad about it because, as you can see, I don't need any other highlighter from the drugstore. Now that we have our powder steps done, I am going to go in with the CoverGirl Nourishing Milk Prime and Refresh Spray. So this you can use as primer, in between steps, setting spray, to refresh the makeup throughout the day, all the things. This I really like to melt in the powders. If I was doing a full drugstore look like I am today, and I could not use my MAC Fix Plus, this is what I would replace it with. Is it a dupe? Absolutely not. Is it an alternative in a pinch? For sure. Because as you can see, it has melted those powders into the skin, and it doesn't look so powdery, and it looks more skin-like. But I still love my MAC Fix Plus, don't get me wrong. And again, it is not the same formula, but this in a pinch can melt the powders down onto your face. We will use something else for actual setting spray, but until then, let's jump into pencil liner. Today, I just pulled out the NYX retractable pencil. This is a really good one. I also really like the Milani one. Maybelline has good ones. CoverGirl has good eyeliner pencils. Eyeliner pencils, I feel like, are pretty decent all the way around. My top ones would be Milani or this L'Oreal one. But those are like really long lasting. And if you want an alternative to like Urban Decay 24/7 pencils, I would go with those two. But if you don't care for the Urban Decay one, this one's pretty good, and so are the Maybelline. They're very creamy and pigmented, as you can see. Eyeshadow, I cheated a little bit on this because I don't really like eyeshadows at the drugstore. Like if I'm walking into Walmart or Kroger or anything, I'm not going to be reaching for the eyeshadows that are available. They're just not my cup of tea. But an affordable brand that I do enjoy is ColourPop. So if you go to Ulta, you can find this. I want to say they have some ColourPop stuff on Amazon as well. Look at that glow. But besides the point, there is ways to shop ColourPop, and their actual website, there's sales all the time. So I would recommend ColourPop eyeshadows. The Smoke and Roses is a $35 eyeshadow palette, which might seem like a lot, but when you get into like higher end brands, like my Makeup by Mario ones, those are a lot smaller than this, and those are $56. If you want something on a budget, I would go with ColourPop, and they have a bunch of these bigger palettes in different colorways. There's a rainbow palette, there's more neutral palettes. Then you have something like this, which is kind of like neutral, pinky vibes. This one I really, really enjoy, and I think it's going to go really nice with our cheek situation. So to start this out, I am going to use Part-Time, which is like this peachy color. Plus, if you like really romantic type looks, I would recommend this palette. And you can do like smoky eyes and just different day-to-day looks as well. So if you like peachy, pinky eyeshadows, this is a great one. Now, today I'm not using like drugstore brushes or anything. I know ColourPop has brushes. I have not tried them, so I cannot attest to those. But I really do like e.l.f., Wet n Wild. Morphe has great brushes still. There is affordable brushes out there, I promise. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Whisper, which is this gray shade. And we're going to take this a little bit on this outer corner. And that is already so, so pretty. I am going to take a little bit of that same gray shade on the lower lash line. Just tie it in. Then with a smaller brush, we're gonna go into Smoked Out, which is kind of like a black. I mean, it is black, but this isn't a super intense black. This is a little bit softer. And I'm just going to focus this further on this outer corner, building up this look. And I like taking my darker shade and bringing it a little bit across the upper lash line. It just adds a nice smoky element. Then I'm gonna take Heartbreaker, which is like a mauve pinky shade, and I'm just gonna tap that where the matte shadows end and the empty lid space begins. Just a heads up, when I start doing Valentine's makeup tutorials, you're probably going to see this palette a lot, but at least it's affordable. And then for that very inner portion, I really want a bright inner eye. So I'm going to take I Love, which is this shade, and we're just going to take this right in here. My bad, that is called One Love, not I Love. Then you already know, we're going back in with a highlighter and a smaller brush here. We're going to do the inner corner, and we're also going to wrap that around to this inner portion of the lower lash line, just to give us a little more. Now this is when we're going to do our setting spray before eyeliner and mascara. I have two other Drugstore setting sprays. I only have these two, and then the CoverGirl Milky one. These are the only three that I found that's actually worth anything. So we have the NYX the Face Glue Setting Spray. This one's pretty good for just every day getting through a nice long work day or whatever. This will do. If you need it to last a long time, this is a great alternative to the One Size setting spray. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 3-Second Setting Mist. This is literally like hairspray for your face. This will get you through pretty much anything. A wedding, a concert, anything of the sort that's very important that you need your makeup to last. This is the one I would go for. Would I use this on a daily basis? No, because it is a lot. And the alcohol in here is a lot, because the very first ingredient on the bottle is alcohol. That means there's a high concentration of that in here. And typically with aerosols anyway, there's going to be a lot of alcohol. So it's going to dry out your skin if you use this every single day. So I would recommend NYX the Face Glue for just daily use. Since I'm not going anywhere, I'm literally doing my makeup, I'm going to edit this video for you guys, and then I'm eating dinner. And that's pretty much it today. So always do a test spray too. And if your face is not drenched, you did not use enough. Your face should be wet. I know not everyone likes the NYX the Face Glue stuff, including the primer. I really like that primer too. If you want a somewhat grippy primer that's not too grippy and sticky, it's a little more hydrating, I would go with that one. That one's really good. Like my top brand from the drugstore is probably Maybelline, NYX, L'Oreal. Milani has a lot of good stuff too. I'm not the biggest fan of CoverGirl. They have some good stuff, but not enough for me. Not a big fan of their foundation or concealer. Like I said, the powder's good. This was a lucky find for me. I was actually sent that product when it first came out and fell in love with it. And then if you don't mind shopping online for ColourPop, I would do that versus going to Ulta, just because ColourPop's website has more sales and deals. So I would do that. And like I said, ColourPop has a lot of great stuff. Blushes, they have highlighters, eyeshadows. Their lippies are really good, like lip gloss, lipstick, lip liners, all those are really good. Eyeliners, there's all kinds of stuff from ColourPop I love. Now, my favorite liquid liner at the drugstore, I swear I'm not sponsored by NYX, but I should be at this point. This is the NYX Epic Ink Liner in black. They also have a brown one, which I really like. The only bad thing about these is their brush tip. So be careful because sometimes they get frayed. This one is newer, so it's not frayed, but I like a brush tip. I do not want a felt tip. And trying to find a brush tip at the drugstore is really hard. So I really like this one. And then the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof, the original or the skinny version, is really, really good. Those are my top two from the drugstore. As you can see, that is very black, very precise, and it dries down matte, which is very important to me. Now, mascara, I currently do not have a drugstore one open, so I'm just using what I have open at the moment because mascaras only last for so long. But my favorite brands for mascara is Maybelline and L'Oreal. Point blank period. Those are the only ones that I really reach for. CoverGirl Lash Blast Fusion, the purple tube, is good. But mostly the Maybelline Sky High. I've used that since it came out. I've went through several of those. The Bubble Mascara, I'm already on my second one. I have not opened it yet though. I'm trying to use up what I have before I open that one. But I do have one sitting, waiting for me to open it. I even have a couple Sky Highs in my backup drawer. L'Oreal, the original voluminous one in the black tube here is really good. I can't remember the name of that. I'll just throw it up on the screen. Sees, that one's pretty good. I like more of a natural bristle brush rather than plastic. If it is plastic, I am going to be really, really picky. You're going to notice a lot of Maybelline and L'Oreal here, but lip liners, I really enjoy the Maybelline, the lifters. And this is the shade 03 Player. This is probably my most used one. I have 4 different shades, and this is the one I reach for the most. L'Oreal, I really like these Plump Ambition Hyaluronic Lip Oils, and I have the shade 641 Latte. I have 4 different ones of these as well, and these together are so, so good. Not only are you getting the plumping from this, but this lip liner, once it sets, it does not budge. Even if you put gloss on top, it doesn't move. I don't know how they formulated it to do that, but even my high-end ones, they don't do that. I just wish there was more colors in the Maybelline, and then that would probably be my all-time favorite lip liner. I just wish there was even more colors, so I definitely need to pick up more of these either way. And these are so creamy and pigmented, watch. Are you joking? So you can see why this shade is my favorite. This is such a nice shade. I honestly need to get one of these on backup because I use it a lot. But let's go ahead going with this L'Oreal Gloss. And this is the one that has those weird like little round things on the doe foot. It's so shiny too. Like, look at this liner. It's not moving. And this is our finished full drugstore makeup look. I am obsessed, and honestly, kind of looks like I'm date night ready, if you ask me. Once again, just goes to show there is so many great drugstore options. You don't need all these different high-end things that you see on TikTok, YouTube, etc. Like, if you didn't know I use drugstore makeup, you could definitely mistake this for high-end, especially this lip. If you want to see any more drugstore makeup tutorials, definitely leave me a comment and we can do a whole nother look using only drugstore products. I can change out every single product in here for different drugstore options, just in case maybe this isn't your vibe. We can do a more natural look, we can do a smoky eye, anything you want, leave it in the comments. And if you like any kind of makeup content, I do a bunch over here, so definitely like and subscribe before you leave. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.